They're irresponsible and they're immoral. Women are. They're irresponsible and immoral. Would you hand a child, a 10-year-old child, your checkbook and say, hey, just go to the store and get what I need? But you have all the authority in the world to spend every red penny I have and even go in debt. What do you think that kid's going to figure out? Oh, they can get away with all kinds of shit, can't they? That's what women are like. They're like giving children access to the safe. I'd never do that with my sons, not when they're 5 and 10 years old. But we're told that as adults, we're supposed to give women those things. You know, I bet there's an exact correlation. I've seen the graphs and charts. Since the 1970s, all the way up till today, men have given women more control over the purse strings. That is, control of the family money, paying the bills, how things are spent. At the same time, from the 1970s till now, personal debt as a part of annual income, or personal debt compared to total assets, they have risen equally. What a fucking wonder, is it not? The more power they have, the more you go in debt. What a fucking miracle. Who'd have thought that? Who'd have thought that? And equally, from that time till now, when a woman leaves, she takes half of a man's shit. I can't remember, because I can't remember, what the divorce rate was by percentage in the 70s and the 80s. But now it is up. It is skyrocketing higher. Right? If you knew that 4 out of 5 people got on a plane were going to die as a result of that flight, how many people do you think would be buying that plane ticket? Right? Well, if 4 out of 5 people are divorced today, you know, their marriage, why would you get married? Why would you do that? Because 5 out of 5 people are men and 5 out of 5 people are women. And women, I think over 90% of the time, are not the breadwinner. They're not the big money makers. And they take half. Half of everything. All they have to do is stay in that marriage 10 years. Or whatever your state's law is. And they get half the stuff. They get alimony. They get child support. And better than 4 out of 5 women get that over a man. Men hardly ever are able to get child support or alimony when the woman makes more. Why? Because that is when they go, but that's my money. Oh, you try it. You try it. I listened to a fucking attorney sit there and say, oh, you're a man, you can take care of yourself. I was like, listen, you little bitch, to the attorney. That's what I wanted to say, really fucking bad, but my attorney cautioned me to be careful. I wanted to fucking go off on her. She's the biggest cunt I have ever seen or heard. Ugh, I hate that bitch. Anyways, right? You're a man, you can take care of yourself. And then she started in this, you're underemployed. You're underemployed, so you should be making more money. I'm like, it's a fucking recession, bitch. Back off. She's like, oh no, you should be making more money. We're going to go after you. I said, really? Okay, you know. And I wanted to say it, and again, my lawyer cautioned me, John, that's funny as fuck, but don't say it. I wanted to say, look, she's underemployed too. All women have to do is lay down and take it up the ass for money. She could go to a whorehouse on her days off and make plenty of money taking it in the ass. She's underemployed. My attorney said, oh no, jokes are not allowed in these negotiations, John. Jokes are not allowed in court. And I knew they weren't. But that's the war we're in. It's always about negotiating, moving all the way through to you losing your shit. So the question is, why would you get on that plane? If it's a train, why would you get on that train? Right? If it's going to crash, why would you participate? And if you win, what do you really get? Right? If you're the grand prize winner, what do you get? You still get to pay for everything all along the way. You still get to put up the bill all along the way. You still get all of the work and 95 or more % of the risk of being injured in life. That's right. Men take the risk and men pay. And we get very, very little in return. So that's why Mgtow is gaining in popularity, because men are saying, why am I doing this to myself? Why? Right? It is the war. that is being fought against us. And I've laid out in my last few videos how the risk can be minimized. I've laid out where and how you should shop for women. I've laid that stuff out. But it's always up to the man, right? You can be Mgtow and be the worst one on the planet and get married every other year and get your ass kicked. You're still thinking, I'm going my own way. But you're not, you're losing, right? The idea here is to develop a philosophy that allows men to win this battle of the sexes. And one of the big ways is by making sure you're not engaged in a battle where when you lose, it costs you money and your life. Right? Spoils of the victory with none of the risk. That is what Mgtow is kind of shooting for now, isn't it? That's right. Right? Women hate it. Hate to hear the term pump 'em and dump 'em. They hate that because they think they're giving you the golden vagina, that it's worth $1 million, right? And that it's always worth $1 million, and that you've had it once the first time you get it, and they want $1 million in credit for that right up the front, right off the bat. That pussy's worth $1 million, and they're gonna get it out of you, whether you keep them for 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. You're gonna pay that money for that pussy, right? And you're just lucky if you get to have it more than once, right? Every time she gives it to you, you're just lucky, but you paid, right? You signed the deal that first time you got it. That's right. The first time you got some of that pussy, she said, that's it, right? And I think that's where this fucking mentality is with women. And you've probably heard about it. Where a man's got a girlfriend, she's living with him, and at some point she decides to leave. And she goes through the whole house and steals everything that isn't fucking nailed down or too heavy for her to carry off. Including the fucking toilet paper, including the ice trays, and in some case including the ice cubes themselves, because they believe that they have given something of huge value, inestimable value, that is their body, their precious resource of the golden vagina. And that's why they hate men so much, because they think it's worth that and we really don't. Because I can tell you what fair market value is. It's about $200 over in Carson City. You go to a whorehouse, that's what it's worth. And you never have to pay for it again. Right? You're not buying the whole woman, you're just buying the pussy, and you find out what the pussy costs. And regular street women, your average run-of-the-mill, everyday street whore, right? These girls that walk up and down the street, have little office jobs and drive little cars that they got from their daddy. They don't want to hear that they're only worth $200 or $300. They think they're worth $1 million. That is why feminists killed prostitution in our nation in the early feminist waves, when they wanted men to consider women respectable, right? And that men were no longer allowed to have prostitutes, so that they were forced to marry women who weren't worthy of marriage and capable of understanding their place in a man's life. All right, enough lecture here. You guys rock. Mgtow is freedom. Semper Fi.